Hello YouTubers. Today we're going to convert a 9-speed non-clutch Shadow XT derailleur into a clutch Shadow XT derailleur for 9-speed. Now I know it's not very popular these days, we're moving on to 12-speed, but some people are still in the past, including myself, and the only way to get one is to make one. So what we have here in front of us is a Shadow XT 10-speed derailleur with a clutch mechanism. You can see it has a clutch mechanism here on the side. We have a switch with an on and off position, and this, well, fat black casing with this round, particularly round casing on the bottom there. Now, what we have to do is take the top half of the derailleur off, which is this part, and we have to replace it with this part, which is a 9-speed clutch derailleur. Now I've already pulled this apart. Many people will go, well, how did you pull that apart, considering the pins are driven into blind holes, meaning that you can't actually drive the pins out? Well, the answer is a drill and a punch. So you can see already I've punched this one out. You can see where I've drilled holes and punched the 2 pins out of these holes. Just as an example, this is the 10-speed that I haven't punched out yet, and you can see that I've just drilled 2 very tiny small holes in the end. Really didn't know where to drill, just went for the middle, and it was enough to get enough of a visual of the pin, put a punch through and start to drive them out. You can see I've already started to drive these ones out. You can see they have locating, well, they're not locating, but they have burrs on the end of the pins to hold them in place. I'll let that one drop. So next step is to put this fella onto this fella. So this is where we need to drive the pins out. I've already driven them out a little bit. Now I'm using a ground up, ugly looking, really not useful anymore, chainsaw file. Any hardened rod, that's what she said, will do. So stick it in the hole, grab your hammer, and I know my fingers are in the way, this is difficult to do, and just tap away. And let's come out a little bit. Tap this fella out. This fella's come out a little bit too. So at this stage, they should be loose enough to come out. Okay, so the bottom one's come out. That's worked okay. You can see he just flies off there. Good idea to get rid of all this. If you have any shavings or anything that comes off your drilling, good idea to clean that up. Take special care, there's O-rings on each side. Don't lose those. You're going to need those later. They seal the grease in. Now, this is the other side. Just pop him off. Alright. There you go. You've got that piece of the 10-speed off. So you can lay that over there for later. That's the part we want. So now a little bit of a clean up. Need to get rid of all, oh, you call it swarf, don't you? Just get rid of all that. if you have an air hose, you can probably just blow it all out to begin with, and you don't have the dramas that I'm having. So just give it a bit of a blow up. Okay, looks pretty clean. So now, what we want to do is put this 9-speed, call it an upper link, onto the 10-speed. Now, it's amazing, it just fits on like it's the same derailleur body as the 10-speed, or vice versa. Strange. I am suspecting what has happened is this is the same body, it's just that one side has a different ratio, so you can see with the cable. So, now we're all clean. Get the yellow hammer out of the way. So, we're all clean here. So next step is, make sure that both your O-rings, or all 4 O-rings, are still on the bottom part of the knuckle. Then we grab our 9-speed, top knuckle. I'm suspecting the difference between these is just a ratio. You can see that where the cable mounts, which is here and here, they're at different distances from the, well, this pivoting piece. And I think that these may be slightly different. Yeah, they are. If you have a bit of a quick look at them, you can see that the 10-speed is at more of an angle and the 9-speed is a bit flatter. So yeah, it's really just probably between the two derailleurs, it's probably just a ratio of the top knuckle that is the difference. Okay, so that's the 10-speed. We'll put that back on the other bottom knuckle, so we've got a non-clutch derailleur for another job. But anyway, okay, good. So you can see how neatly this fits together. That just slips on there perfectly, and that just slips on there. So you can see they're made for each other. Okay, so now the only thing we need to do is to get our pins that are notched. Now, you need to turn these slightly from where they originally were. If you look down in the holes, you'll be able to see where these notches went. Just make sure they don't go in the same spot. But, like anything, if you manage to get them in the same spot, you're pretty unlucky. They're going to go in a different spot anyway. So all we need to do is, yeah, we'll have a quick look where the notches are. Okay, I'm going to go for maybe, turn them a bit later. So put this fella in here, just twist it a bit, that makes it easier. So I think that's pretty good. Just sit it in there for the time being. Like anything, just a bit of a dry fit. That's what she said. And then grab the next one. Twisting the pin is the best way to do it. Make sure you don't put it in backwards. Just remember these notches outside. Okay, so put that in there. And then, in theory, pretty much there on a dry fit. So, the next thing is to simply tap these fellas back in. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure you're not supposed to tap these clutch derailleurs, but anyway. Okay, we're getting a visitor. Okay. Yeah, I know. You're interested. Workshop cat, go down. Okay. Now this is probably where a punch is a good idea. So or if you have one, You could also use soft jaws in a vise and just press those together. That's probably the nicest way to do it. Just that it mimics a press. I'll go away and do that and come back when it's done. Okay, and we're back. So I just used a piece of cut off bolt. This also comes in handy for removing Travati cranks with a standard crank puller. We're talking old cranks here, but any of you who remove Travati cranks will know what I mean. There's a special crank puller for it. Anyway, so that is pretty much it. I've tapped those in. Probably could be worth putting a little dob of silicone in there just to seal those up, but it's not super important. It is on the lower side, so I'd recommend probably doing it. But yeah, this is pretty much it. This is now a 9-speed clutch derailleur. So obviously the clutch is in the off position there, put in the on position, and we're locked. That is very locked. Cannot move it. Move it. Not moving. So this is going to go on my cyclocross bike, and yeah, one-by system. Here we come. So have you got any questions regarding the model numbers of the derailleurs? Because there are some different models. I'm sure it works with a short cage as well. Oh, a medium cage, sorry. Could definitely do a medium cage. Maybe you could just swap this out. I don't know how that works. I haven't done any research, but yeah. Next video will be this actually working on the bike. So thank you. And the derailleur is now on the bike. So you can see here that I've had to route the cable slightly different in order to get my shifters to work. This is only if you're running a Campag 10-speed shifter 9-speed Shimano setup, commonly used on cyclocross bikes. You can see this is a fairly cheap gravel bike, running the Veloce 10-speed shifters. Run it through an inline cable adjuster, barrel adjuster if you will. Then different routing. If this is to go on a mountain bike, you can just run the cable straight through here. This little plate behind will be twisted anti-clockwise to 45 degrees. 90 degrees, sorry. So this tab folds down, which is just a standard setup for these derailleurs. This is just something different. So this is a 9-speed cassette. Got our clutch there. You can see that is locked. And then I guess the next thing to see is this actually work. So let's run through the gears. Yeah, it's not 100% smooth, but changes gears, not too heavy. Clutch is on at the moment. It's obviously means there's heavier shifting, but yeah, doesn't change so well in the middle, but that's probably got more to do with the derailleur hanger not being straight. People running this on a 9-speed mountain bike shifter won't really have these issues. They'll just have a derailleur with a clutch on it. So yeah, and that's it.